Coliseum on the campus of the University of Alabama in Tuscaloosa. This is the Super 6 Challenge 2001. In the inaugural Super 6, it was Alabama who ended with 10s, and they were victorious. This year, led by Andrea Pickens, they're looking to defend their title yet again. Trying to turn the tide will be the nation's top women gymnast, including Georgia All-American Christy Litchie. The Super 6 is next on ESPN. And we welcome you to beautiful Coleman Coliseum on the campus of the University of Alabama. We are in Tuscaloosa, Alabama for the Super 6 Challenge. Absolute beautiful day and a beautiful night of gymnastics set for you. Some of the best in the country have traveled to Alabama to compete in this second annual Super 6 Challenge. Competitors like Andrea Pickens, one of the most talented you'll see anywhere in the nation. She is fabulous, folks. Hello, everyone. I'm Todd Harris. Well, tonight, as we pointed out, some of the best in the business are here. 6 of the best universities have traveled to Tuscaloosa, and 1 didn't have to travel very far. A host university of the University of Alabama. They are joined by the University of Florida, University of Georgia, University of Michigan, Penn State University, and Stanford University. And joining me, Kathy Johnson-Clark, a 2-time Olympian, so she knows her stuff. Let's talk about this meet tonight. It's like a heavyweight bout. We've definitely got contenders. We've got some dark horses, but we've got 2 powerhouses in Alabama and Georgia.
What a way to start the season. 3 of the top 6 teams from the last NCAAs are here. Georgia, Alabama, and Michigan. 2 of the favored teams, Georgia and Alabama. What storied programs they come from in NCAA history. Won several national titles between them, and they are definitely favored here. Gymnastically, I think Georgia has a little bit of the edge, but Alabama's got the crowd. And last year when Alabama beat Georgia in Georgia, Sarah Patterson, the coach, said, we only missed one thing. We got to do it here in front of our home crowd.
Well, we talk about the crowd and the other intangibles. A lot of these teams are loaded with freshmen, specifically Stanford, and you come to an arena like this, that's a nice way to open up your career.
No one is using their freshmen quite like Stanford. In fact, they are anchoring the team here on most of the events. So we're going to see some superb gymnasts from very young ones. I think Stanford could be the dark horse here. Not necessarily to win the competition, but to sneak in the top 3, because Michigan had a terrible 24-hour flu that just wreaked havoc in their team. They're through with it, but we might see that hurt their endurance a little bit. But Stanford might just sneak in there.
All right, we'll see what happens. Right now, all eyes of Alabama are on this young lady, Andrea Pickens. She is anchoring the team, and she is set to go on the uneven bars. Here we go, Andrea Pickens taking the floor now. A tough way to start a rotation. You said at the start that you like to start on the uneven bars. A lot of pressure on this young lady.
A lot of pressure. They had a fall early in the rotation. And keep in mind, in women's gymnastics, they can drop 1 of the 6 scores. So they have that luxury. There's still a lot of pressure on this gymnast because they want to drop that lower score and really start off with a bang, especially with Georgia in the competition.
You know, you made a point interesting enough to me. This is a team competition, but once you're out there on the bars, you're all alone. It's like a pitcher and a batter. You go one-on-one. Right now, she is going head-to-head with the uneven bars.
Absolutely right. No handoffs here. You can't say, okay, you take it. And there's no defense either. You have the support of your team, absolutely, and that's the incredible aspect of collegiate gymnastics. There's so much enthusiasm and so much support among the teammates. They will tell you that's their favorite part of competing collegiately. Andrea Pickens is in great shape leading into this season. Sarah Patterson said she worked really hard in the off-season to upgrade her routines, add some difficulty, and that's also great to see in collegiate gymnastics, where most years back we used to see them just ending their careers in collegiate gymnastics. Now we're seeing them improve.
Well, a 9.875 for her teammate Barrington, who just went. Now it's up to Andrea Pickens. Nice to follow someone on your team that just had a nice routine as well.
Now look for big swing here. That's what the judges are looking for. Big high release move, transfers from bar to bar, good pirouetting combinations. There's a nice release move. Looking for every move right into handstand. Very nice transition. Also look for good forearm. Toes pointed, legs straight, every little thing those judges are looking for. Great routine filled with difficulty. Lots of release moves in this routine. And a good dismount, just a hop on the landing. The crowd loves it. Should be a pretty good score.
Well, I think if the folks at Coleman Coliseum had cards, the 10s would go up. But Andrea Pickens getting things going nicely here for the hometown favorite, Alabama Crimson Tide. Let's look at this one more time. Again, the dismount looks very nice.
Full twisting double back way up at the level of the high bar. She just slung it out a little too far and had to hop. Just a tiny one.
A nice first round for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Rotation number 1 goes into the books. Andrea Pickens gets them off on a great start. When we come back, we'll see Suzanne Sears of the Georgia Gym Dogs. Stay with us. Welcome back to Coleman Coliseum. This is the 2001 Super 6 Challenge. Todd Harris along with Kathy Johnson-Clark. There you see the results after the first rotation. Alabama out in front with a 49.125 by virtue of Andrea Pickens' 9.925 on the uneven bars. Stanford right in there, Michigan and Florida. Georgia and Penn State had a bye on that first rotation. As we go over to the vault, Michigan is there right now. Christy Michaud is set to take her pass. We've talked about the Michigan team in the open, about the sickness that has really ravaged their team. And I think maybe later on in the rotations, 4, 5, and 6, you might see the legs starting to go.
After speaking with Bev Plocky, their coach, she knows she has a very, very good team that will be excellent by the time Nationals comes around. Probably not quite ready to be great here. Thinks they'll stand up on all of the events except for this one. Vault is definitely their weakest event in terms of the value of the vault the gymnasts are throwing. Your goal is to get 6-10-0 vaults up there. Very nice landing. Excellent landing.
Very well done. The senior from Mill Valley, California with a nice vault. And I know the coach has got to like to see that because it gets the momentum going for the rest of the team. And they are certainly going to need momentum on a night when they are less than 100% as far as health goes. As a gymnast, Kathy, you obviously have to feed off your teammates' performances, and something like that's got to do a great job for you.
They definitely feed off each other's enthusiasm and support. This is a very nice Sukahara laid out with a full twist, and the best part about it was the landing.
Sticks the landing. So for Christy Michaud, her work is done. As we move over to the beam, that's where the Alabama Crimson Tide are. The Tide looking for a lot of people to step up tonight. Specifically, Kristen Sterner, the sophomore out of Michigan. A lot of pre-vault jitters there.
She's definitely been a solid performer for Alabama. This is an event that Alabama historically has been very, very good on. Well prepared coming into competition. Spoke with Sarah Patterson before the competition. She thinks they're very ready, even though it's a season opener. She feels they're ready to hit routines and will only build on this towards the big dance in April. Alabama has a great rotation. They got to start on arguably their best event. And if that's their best event, the uneven bars, this is most likely their deepest event. They have so many gymnasts who can come in to any competition and be very consistent for them.
Well, as a home team, you obviously want to get the advantage after the first rotation. They have done that. Now when do you start doing the math and seeing if you can hold court?
Well, this is definitely the event where you apply the pressure to the other competitors on the other teams.
Kristen Sterner, so far so good. So far so good. She's got some great genes. Her father was a gymnast at Michigan State. She got out of Michigan and came down to Alabama. They called it.
Very solid routine. Not the highest level of difficulty throughout, but solid, which is a good middle routine for them.
And she had some minor bobbles, but as a coach, you can live with those because other than that, the routine was relatively clean. That was Kristen Sterner, the sophomore from Alabama, taking to the vault as she gets congratulations from her teammates here at the Super 6 Challenge. Coleman Coliseum is the site. A lot of red in the stands tonight. As we look at this one more time, this is Kristen Sterner. The confidence is certainly there, Kathy.
And you can see she's relaxed. You can see it on her face. I can always tell when a gymnast is feeling tense or pressure on the beam.
And here's the dismount.
Just a round off full twist. Again, I repeat, it's not the highest level of difficulty, but it was solid.
Well, she did her job as we move on to our next competitor from Alabama on the vault. A name that many people might know, Jenna Rice, who is a freshman from Longwood, Florida.
We have a very nervous mother in the audience. Joan Moore Nat, very famous American gymnast, 72 Olympian. And there she is. And
is it tougher being the mother or the athlete?
And she is a high-level judge, judges international competitions and national. She said she's never been more nervous.
Well, here's her daughter, the very diminutive but powerful 4'10", Jenna Rice. She says if she was 6 feet tall, she'd be a supermodel. But right now, I don't think there's a supermodel on the planet that can do what she can do on the beam.
Beautiful work. Layout, excellent form.
Now, do you think her mother's watching as a judge right now or as a mother?
Interesting you should say that. Everybody's asked her that. She says, absolutely not. I'm watching with a mother's pride and nervous as can be, just holding her breath.
A lot of composure for this freshman.
Very polished. This was Joni's event. She was beautiful on this event.
Saves it.
Maybe there is something to jeans.
Yep, there you go. The payoff, and
Very
mother approves.
nice.
I think if she had a 10 card, she'd hold it up right about now. As we move over to the floor right now, that's where the Georgia Gym Dogs are. And here's a face that many people may know. A very talented gymnast on the floor, Suzanne Sears, the defending national champion. And her opening pass. Throughout the routine. Well, she is the best in the business. The 5'5" senior from Marietta, Georgia, the defending NCAA floor exercise champion, Suzanne Sears. And you got to think the music reflects the personality.
Well, this two-event specialist certainly has emerged as one of Georgia's top performers. In fact, she can do even more difficulty in the tumbling. But this was certainly sufficient here.
An impressive score, a 9.90 for Suzanne Sears. As we step aside, we will be back to Coleman Coliseum for more of the Super 6 Challenge after this. Coleman Coliseum in the 2001 Super 6 Challenge. That is Andrea Pickens getting some last-minute instructions. She is set to take the beam here for the Alabama Crimson Tide, looking for a big performance here trying to give her team a nice cushion.
Very intense expression as she began this routine. A lot of concentration is needed to work the balance beam. Had a couple little balance breaks throughout. There's another one. These are all the little things they need to work out between now and nationals. Alabama has a couple lower scores that they would really like to drop it. And one of them, they need a big score from Andrea, who's talking to herself, it looks like. Important landing here. Very nice on the double top.
Well, a 9.925 on the uneven bars, a 9.775 on the vault. So Andrea Pickens having a great opening season here at the home event. As we look at our results so far through 2 rotations, Alabama still out in front, followed by Michigan, Georgia, Stanford, Florida, and Penn State. We're back with more after this. Coleman Coliseum on the campus of the University of Alabama in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. This is the 2001 Super 6 Challenge. Todd Harris along with Kathy Johnson-Clark as we move over to the beam. Our next competitor from Penn State, Gemma Cuff. She's from Penn State, but she's originally from England. She's a senior, 5 feet tall, competing all around. Now, this is a competition that she's done very well in the past. Her best on the beam is a 9.875, so she certainly, Kathy, is capable of putting up some decent numbers.
A very good all-around gymnast, too. Placed 13th in the all-around at last year's NCAA championships.
She is from Loughborough, England. Now calls Happy Valley home. Her final year at Penn State. She's had a great career there. As she is set to take the beam in hostile territory, because there's a lot of folks from Alabama cheering their hometown fans on, hoping that the tide does in fact roll. But this is Gemma Cuff set to take the balance beam from Penn State.
Feeling a little bit more pressure here. Her teammate fell right before her. In fact, on the same mount she just performed, front tuck onto the end. Needs a little bit more amplitude on those leaps. The judges are really looking for full split, nice height.
Knowing that this is the first event of the season, are the judges cutting them any slack whatsoever, or are they trying to maintain the standards?
I think judges are always trying to maintain certain standards. It's hard to do. It's very difficult from meet to meet and across the country. That's the biggest problem in collegiate gymnastics, is trying to keep the scores consistent across the country.
Oh.
Nice save, but a very big break.
You talked about it earlier, polishing these. These are the little things that they need to polish if they want to be there in April. Oh. A slight break on the landing for Gemma Cuff from Penn State University. And again, a little bit of polish. She might be there. From the balance beam, we shift over to the vault. That's where the University of Georgia Gym Dogs are at this moment.
A very big event for Georgia, primarily because of their vault coach, Doug McGavin, who is the head coach, unfortunately, for this competition. He's acting as the head coach. Suzanne Yaculin, the head coach of 17 years, had to return home for a family emergency.
Suzanne Sears, the senior out of Marietta, Georgia, with her pass. As we pointed out earlier, this year only one pass on the vault, not the norm. People would expect to see two.
And according to Coach Doug McGavin, that will benefit Georgia. They're strong on this event. They throw a lot of 10-0 value vaults. There's a pike front half, a little low on the landing, nice distance from the horse, but her legs were a little bit bent in the air. Those will be slight deductions.
So Suzanne Sears and the rest of the Georgia Gym Dogs on the vault at this time, looking to make a move. And I'm sure they're keeping their eye on the scoreboard as well. Alabama is not a team you want to get behind early and have to catch up on. And as we look at the rotation order, Alabama and Michigan have byes in the final rotation.
Christy's very strong on this event, and most important, she is so clean in the air and on the landing. That was just beautiful.
And the score for Suzanne Sears coming down now, a 9-7-0.
Watch this in the air. This is just gorgeous. Beautiful pike, opens, spots the ground, and oh, great landing.
Christy Litchie, that's what you expect from your seniors. And the Georgia Gym Dogs are getting just that. The score for her, a 9-9-2-5. A very impressive performance. And we will have more of the 2001 Super 6 Challenge after this. Coverage of the 2001 Super 6 Challenge from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. A great competition thus far. A lot of stiff competition, I should say, because it's so close. As we move on to the floor exercise, Lise Levi of Stanford getting some last-minute instruction. What can you tell her at this point that she doesn't already know, or what can you tell her to brush up on that she's just about to perform?
Especially this gymnast, very experienced. In fact, just competed in the Sydney Olympic Games for Canada. And in a very emotional team effort, they finished 9th, just one spot away from their dream goal of 8th, but they were thrilled with the 9th place finish.
She is from Burnaby, British Columbia. She's a freshman. So the pressure of the Olympics and the pressure of the Super 6, all in 1 year.
Nice routine, and they need a big score. The last couple floor routines for Stanford been a little bit lower than they wanted.
And over the uneven bars, this is Gabby Fuchs from Florida, a 5'1" senior out of Middlesex, Greatly.
According to their coach, this is the strongest team that she's had in the last 4 or 5 years. Hoping to get back into nationals, qualify this year. Said most important, we don't really have any weaknesses this year. All the events are pretty even. Double layout dismount.
Nice. From Great Britain to Tuscaloosa, Alabama, Gabby Fuchs from the University of Florida, very happy with the routine on the uneven bars.
Nice high release move over the bar. Could have taken that a little bit higher, trying to work it up to a handstand. This is one of the best parts of the routine, was the double layout dismount. It sure brought her teammates to their feet.
Nice way to end the rotation for the University of Florida. Lise Lavalle score a 9.850 on her floor routine. She replenishes the liquids. And there you see the score for Gabby Fuchs. Stanford now moves on to the vault. And we'll be back with more of the 2001 Super 6 Challenge right here on ESPN after this short break. Stay with us. Coliseum in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, on the campus of Alabama. And unfortunately, those are some of the gymnast fathers. We won't mention their names out of embarrassment. But here's the rotation standings thus far after 3. It's Georgia and Alabama, followed by Stanford, Michigan, Florida, and Penn State. And I got to give Kathy a pop because that is exactly what you say it would go down like. Still more gymnastics still to go, but that's what you predicted, and so far it's holding true. And moments ago, before we got started, Kathy talked to Mark Cook, Stanford's head coach.
Came in, for the most part, they were close to making Olympic trials or this or that, and they just didn't quite make it, and they were all, like several of the girls, 3 of the girls were trying for the Olympic team, and they were just on the bubble and didn't quite, realize that goal. And I think that they've reaffirmed themselves, okay, in college I'm going to keep pushing to, to achieve some stuff, and I think that it's really motivated them more to come and prove something to themselves and have a great time at it. So they came to Stanford really motivated and very excited, very, very happy, and so it's been a very easy transition for them, other than a little bit of homesickness.
That's Mark talking about his freshman team coming in, and they are really doing an outstanding job here.
Well,
I'm very impressed with the team.
Yeah, you talked about it earlier, how important it was for them to step up, and they have certainly done that on a huge arena. For an opening event, it doesn't get much better or bigger than the Super 6 here in Tuscaloosa. However, it is senior leadership, and you don't want to leave home without them. As we move over to the vault, Mark Cook getting set, and one of the best seniors on his team. In fact, only one of the seniors on his team, Jennifer Exaltacion from Ontario, Canada, set to make her one and only pass on the vault. A very diminutive 4'10", but she is extremely powerful, extremely experienced.
A very technically good gymnast, too. Very pretty to watch. She's competed very well so far in this competition. Vault is no exception.
Wow.
Piked front. Very nice position in the air. Very elegant.
Well, he's happy with his freshman, but you hate to lose a senior, and this is her last year. And she goes out with a beautiful performance right here on the vault.
This vault is worth a 9.9 in the code of points, so if done absolutely perfectly, that's the highest it could score, and she did it very well. There'll be a little deduction for the landing, a little bent knees, that's all though.
Send the senior out first and hope the freshmen follow, and what a great senior to have to start things off for Stanford on the vault. Her vault score a 9.70, so there was a deduction on that landing, but a solid score for her as we move on.
Another handspring pike front, a stuck landing, but she was a little bit lower and had to bend her knees too soon to make the landing.
That was Alyssa Cooper, the 5'5" sophomore out of Silver Springs, Maryland. It's tough to follow the senior with that great score that she had, but again, a nice vault.
The only thing that holds this team back, they need a little more depth on every single event and try and increase the difficulty on their vaults. All the teams are trying to get those 10-0 vaults, and ideally all 6 gymnasts competing 10-0 vaults.
And we move over to the floor, and that's where we find the University of Alabama. So everyone in the auditorium, almost everyone in the auditorium here at Coleman Coliseum will be watching this young lady, Reagan Tomasek, the junior, out of Mastic Beach, New York.
And this is an event that Alabama really needs to post some high scores. They're capable of it, and before they go into the final rotation where they have a bye and just sit and watch Georgia, they need to rack up some more points here.
That's going to be a nice advantage going into the last rotation with a bye, knowing that everyone else has to step up to you.
already have a deficit of almost 0.6 of a point.
Nice opening pass.
Here it is.
The most popular song in the state. How can you go wrong with this choice of music?
She does some, but former gymnast Dana Dobransky, part of their '91 championship team, does a lot of the choreography. I guess we should say sweet.
The music alone should get her close to a 10. The fans certainly appreciating that from this junior, Reagan Tomasek, from Mastic Beach, New York. As we look at this one more time, she had some great passes, good composure, all in all a solid performance.
Nice form, even on the tumbling. Double twist, legs perfectly together. Nice to see. Look at her teammates, holding hands, cheering every step of the way. Miss Wing. Very important vault for them. Yurchenko 1.5 twists in a tuck position. 10-0 vault.
All that from a freshman. Reagan Tomasek's score was a 9.875 on the floor. But Lindsay Wing, the freshman at Stanford, certainly a leader for the future.
And you know, Todd, that's the first smile I've seen from her. I think she finally relaxed a little bit. A little tucked on the pre-flight. But nice crisp twist in the air, a little hop back. Coach Mark Cook is very happy.
Mark Cook and the Stanford Cardinal came all the way from Palo Alto, California, and so far the trip has certainly been worth it as you see the score for Lindsay Wing. We'll be back to Tuscaloosa, Alabama for more of the 2001 Super 6 Challenge right after this. While you can, because the action is so good, you don't want to miss anything as we move over to the uneven bars. That's where Michigan is right now. The 2001 Super 6 Challenge. Cami Singer, quite loose before her pass. She is a 5'2" sophomore from Monument, Colorado. You always like to see that before they go to their apparatus. She's loose, she's laughing, she's dancing to the music. That shot can't taste too good, though.
You get used to it.
Okay. She's just waiting for the music on the floor exercise to die down.
We are convinced all gymnasts have white lung, though, for breathing it.
Secondhand chalk. This is Cami Singer from the University of Michigan. As we pointed out, University of Michigan suffering through a virus that went through the whole team, started with the coach, but they are still here. You can't miss out on the Super 6.
And they are still right in there. They're not that far behind Stanford. Less than 0.2 behind. Big, beautiful release move.
Well, they've had 3 good scores on the even thus far, 1 poor one that they'll have to drop. So right now they're looking to Cami Singer to dominate right here and put up a great number.
Oh. Unfortunately, she went over on that handstand. Had to improvise, work her way back into the routine. Oh, that's going to cost him.
And to the floor we go. This is Kristen Sterner, the sophomore from Mahoning, Michigan.
Oh, no, out of bounds. 1/10 of a point for the step out of bounds.
That wasn't even really close, Kathy. Just too much momentum and energy there.
the part about getting music like this. It demands a smile on your face, and you just stepped out of bounds, and you got to keep on smiling.
So a little too much adrenaline on the first pass. She has to come back now and completely regroup, and hopefully she dominates the rest of the routine.
Landing she was looking for. So little mistakes. These are the kind of things you expect to see the beginning of the season. These are things they'll polish up, and by nationals they'll be gone.
Completely gone, hopefully, is what our coach is thinking. So we look at this one more time. Just way too much adrenaline going right here.
Little over rotation, pulled her feet just a little too far around, made her hips land behind her feet, and she had to take too large a step.
And here was the final pass, much better.
Absolutely. Double pike, nice difficult dismount to land with, and only the one step into the lunge.
Well, the scores continue to come down. The score for Cammie Singer on the uneven bars for Michigan, a 9.675. So Michigan will take that. The score for Kristen Sterner, a 9.80. Very nice. The lady of the hour, Andrea Pickens from the University of Alabama, set to put on a show.
Debuting a new floor routine here. Everyone anxiously awaiting the new choreography. That's a tough one to land.
The extra padding, you pointed out, is it possible injury just to make the landing a little easier for her?
A little easier on the ankles.
Coaches will tell you the best part of Andrea Pickens is that she is coming back next year. She is only a junior, and I think right now the whole state of Alabama is happy she is coming back next year.
Well, we know what the audience thinks of it. Let's see what the judges think of. She certainly lands very well. All of her tumbling passes just right on.
Andrea Pickens, the junior out of Houston, Texas, her father looking on. Do you think he liked this pass?
I think he loves every move she makes.
Exactly. Daddy's little girl. We will return to Coleman Coliseum, a 9.95. Much more still to come from the Super 6. Stay with us. Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and Coleman Coliseum. After 4 rotations, it's Alabama out in front, followed by Stanford, Michigan, Florida, Georgia, and Penn State. And in this rotation, Stanford and Florida will take their byes. As the home team, the Alabama Crimson Tide Lady Gymnasts move to the vault. A very important rotation. Georgia is now on the even bars. Penn State goes to the floor, and Michigan on the beam. And Kathy, as we look down what has happened and what is coming up, any surprises for you, or pretty much as gone as you planned?
Pretty much gone as planned. Georgians now over at the uneven bars, which last year was not their strongest event. In fact, at Nationals, they outscored the field on floor and vault. But bars and beam, they weren't quite up there. They look to be improved here and could expand their lead here on this event.
How do you see Alabama on the vault? Strong or not?
Not as strong as Georgia on the vault. So they will really have to come up with some great landings. But in terms of difficulty, I think Georgia has the vault as well.
We are over to the vault now. This is Kristen Sterner, set to take her pass, her only pass. Remember, there's only one pass on the vault now. She has scored a 9.92 in the past, so this is definitely somewhere where she can excel. And I know right now the University of Alabama, the whole staff is hoping she can pull off another 9.92.
Obviously, this event takes a lot of speed, a lot of power, and most important, good timing off the horse. That was a pike front with a 9.9. Keep in mind, the gymnasts who have the advantage are those who are doing the 10-0 valued vaults.
Higher risk, higher reward. As we look at it one more time, a lot of speed as you put it out coming down.
And timing of the push off the horse into the pike somersault opened up a little late, which caused her to over-rotate and take a sizable hop.
So a small deduction for Kristen Sterner on her vault.
Now the difference, just imagine, last year they could do 2 vaults. She could go back down there, repeat that, correct it a little, and maybe go for a stuck landing. So this 1 vault rule has made a big difference.
The score for Sterner, 9.675. Jenna Rice, the freshman. And again, her mother, I'm sure, will be watching the vault during this rotation.
Here comes a Yurchenko vault. Whoa, that was pretty. Very, very nice. Yurchenko, half twist front layout, and most impressive was the front layout position she hit and maintained throughout the somersault.
Well, her teammates know it was good. The fans know it was good.
That's a 10-0 vault.
They're hoping the judges know it's good.
Nice high value for that vault. You can see it in the background, 9.85. Watch the stretch after the block, up into the air. Very nice stretch, laid out position. If we could have just asked our coach to move over a little bit, we could have seen that.
Jenna Rice, a 9.875. And from the vault, we move over to the bars. One of the best, Litchie from the University of Georgia Gym Dogs. And Kathy, you know she's got to know what's on the line here. She heard the crowd erupt. She knows that Alabama is on the vault, and that's what they're cheering for. So someone in the back of her mind, she knows, just stuck it. The pressure's certainly on Georgia. Will they respond? They certainly have the talent to.
I think these gymnasts are very inspired by the audience response, regardless of who it's for.
Christy Litchie out of Cincinnati, Ohio, 5 feet tall. She is a senior, earned All-America honors. The all-around, the vault, the balance beam, and the floor exercise last season. So to say she is well-rounded would certainly be an understatement.
Certainly a contender in the all-around for throughout the season and at Nationals. She finished 6th in the all-around at the NCAAs last year in the all-around.
Just prior to her, Curry went 9.775 on the bars.
Look for the highlight of her routine. It's a 1.5 pirouette right there. Oh!
And just when Alabama sticks a vault, Christy Litchie comes unglued. Sapner prior to her as well had a 9.4, so they really need it, and this is not what they were looking for, Kathy.
Yeah, unfortunately, she was out of the handstand position, which makes the pirouette very difficult, and just lost her grip. 0.5 of a point for the fall.
Mentally, she just has to block that out now. Can try to continue on.
Another release move. Little lackluster on the rest of the routine. Clearly dampened her spirits with the miss on the 1.5 pirouette.
As we look at it one more time, you can see her hands get tangled up there and just, oh.
Yeah, she really needed to ride it up higher to get on top of the bar to make that pirouette cleanly.
And the dismount.
Had to work really hard to get her feet around. And had to work hard for the smile.
Hardest part. So the University of Georgia will try to regroup, as will Christy Litchie. I'll tell you what, all eyes are here at Coleman Coliseum on the vault. This is Sarah Scarborough, the sophomore from Birmingham. So she is a hometown favorite.
Oh, no. They just missed the opportunity. It's hard to say whether they were aware of the fall over on the uneven bars, but this was a huge opportunity to really knock out these vaults. And unfortunately, that's it, one vault. So they'll have to count a fall as well.
So is that opportunity missed for the University of Alabama?
Yeah, she was completely off in the air, needed to hold that layout position, but couldn't. She had to get her feet down on the ground, and it just caused the fall.
Well, Sarah Scarborough, only a sophomore, so she has years to perfect and polish. I'm sure we'll be hearing from her throughout the coming years. This was Andrea Pickens moments ago.
Very nice vault in the air.
And she got a 9.825, so Roll Tide continues at the Super 6 Coleman Coliseum. We'll be back with more right after this short break. Welcome back to Coleman Coliseum on the campus of the University of Alabama. This is the Super 6 Challenge. The University of Georgia Gym Dogs on the bars. This is Corey Fritzinger. She is a 5'2" freshman from Virginia Beach, Virginia, former U.S. national team member. And considering what has taken place for Georgia on uneven bars, this puts a lot of pressure on the shoulders of a young freshman.
She's got the stuff to do it. Does nice work in her Eagle Giants. Very unusual position for the giant swing. I'm sure she's feeling the nerves as any freshman would. And is also relying on the experience she's had competing at the national level.
Well, the University of Georgia is certainly counting on her. And this is how you season your freshmen. I guess it's baptism by fire.
Nice, smooth swing. There's the Eagle Giants. Beautifully done. One more right here. Pirouette into Eagle. Right there, and oh, go over the top. Into a double front half. Had to work on top of that handstand, but pulled it around.
Well, she held her poise as long as she held that handstand and was still able to crack a smile at the end.
If that doesn't teach you, never give up. Ever, ever. Transfer to handstand. Maintains a very nice toe point throughout. Right here, she just worked and worked until finally she went around double front with a half twist.
So the freshman steps up to the plate and does quite well for herself and for her team. We'll stay with the uneven bars. Kathleen Shreves will be next as we wait for the score to come down for Corey.
Kathleen Shreves is a 3-event performer for Georgia. Vault, bars, and balance beam. In fact, she won a bronze on this event at the World University Games in '97, where she also won a silver medal in the all-around behind Shanna Miller.
Kathleen Shreves, the senior out of Dayton, Maryland, set to take her rotation. 9.9 for Fritzinger. Kathleen Shreves earned an All-American honors on bars last season, so very timely for her to come up here. I'm sure the coach couldn't have planned it any better.
She placed 6th at Nationals last year on this event.
So from a freshman to a senior, this is Kathleen Shreves from the University of Georgia on the uneven bars.
There's 3 back-to-back releases here. Hop full, right into reverse hack. Oh, no.
Oh, my.
Whoa, all the way over the other bar.
Well, look at again.
Well, I'm reminded we're early in the season. Look at this. You could see how her grips just missed that bar.
So now again, a complete regroup. That's 2 falls for the University of Georgia, and this is basically an event where they really thought they'd be able to move up.
Keep in mind there's probably an emotional issue at point here as well, with their head coach having to fly back home to be at her mother's side.
Well, Kathleen Shreves finishes a routine, but again, disappointment for the University of Georgia. 2 falls in that rotation thus far, unfortunately. The 5th rotation still ahead when we return to Coleman Coliseum, Tuscaloosa, Alabama, the Super 6 Challenge. More after this. See him on the campus of the University of Alabama. This is Janessa Greco from the University of Michigan. 5'2" sophomore from Monopac, New York. Just can't salvage it.
0.5 of a point off for the fall. Very critical for Michigan here, especially if they're going to move back past Stanford into the top 3.
Knowing what Michigan has gone through with the sickness and the travails to get here, top 3 would be stupendous for them.
Yeah, top 3 finish would have been very good in what they were capable of doing, considering their level of difficulty. They give away a little bit on form, just some huge form deductions here on this routine, but these are all things they can clean up between now and nationals. Good landing.
Janessa Greco, the 5'2" sophomore from New York. And the score for her, a 9.250. Michigan will take that into their count. Folks here at Alabama just appreciating the fine gymnastic performance being put on by these very talented young ladies. This is the Super 6 Challenge. 6 great universities coming together. Another competitor from the University of Michigan. This is Shannon McKenzie, the 5'3" junior out of Midland, Michigan. Now on the beam.
She is very, very clean on this event. This is the way you want to work balance beam. You don't give the judges any opportunity to take deductions. With pointed toes, straight legs, very clean execution. Absolutely no room for error. The tiniest little mistakes or balance breaks can become big ones.
Well, the coaches and the fans realize this is the first meet of the year, but the judges, I don't think they care. Saves it.
One of the hardest things to learn on balance beam is how to use your adrenaline to help you instead of hinder you on this event, because it has to be controlled. The other events, you can just let it loose on floor, on vault. Balance beam, you got to control it and yet not hold back, because that's when you make mistakes. So pretty good routine, particularly early in the season. Just those few little balance breaks.
Shannon McKenzie scores a 9.775 for the University of Michigan. Well done on the beam. As we go to our standings after 5 rotations, it's Alabama out in front, followed by Michigan, Georgia, Stanford, Florida, and Penn State. 1 rotation still to go on the Super 6 Challenge when we return right here on ESPN. Stay with us. And Penn State. As we move over to the uneven bars, Stanford there now. This is Robin Phelps.
We had a great start on this event. 9.775 by Jen Excelstatian.
Yet again, another freshman for Stanford, Robin Phelps, 5'2", out of Rockville, Maryland. Hoping to step up to the plate here at the Super 6 Challenge.
The top 3 finish would be outstanding for this young team. Very clean. Look at the form. Nice handstand position. A former elite gymnast, national team member. Got a little bit sloppy there, but regained her form. Very nice composition. Variety of skills.
Well done. We've talked about the recruiting classes. Stanford certainly did not miss out on their fair share of top athletes this year. Okay, hard. From the uneven bars, we move over to the beam. Marlene Stevens. Tyler Vexler is already gone. She got a 9.8.
And Marlene really wants to pick it up here for Georgia. They had a rough rotation over at the uneven bars. They really want to do well here, and so far so good.
Georgia needs a 48.910 to win. That means basically each one of their competitors needs a 9.78 average to knock Alabama off. And wouldn't they love to return the favor?
So that means we got to start seeing some 9.8s across the board. It's a tough order on balance beam.
We talked about Stanford's freshman, Marlene Stevens, also a freshman from Houston, Texas. Former U.S. national team member.
Keep in mind, small breaks can be a half a tenth of a point to a tenth of a point deduction. They add up. You're quickly below a 9.8 before you know it. So they all have to be incredibly consistent and solid.
In the format, 6 competitors, you can drop your lowest score. Marlene Stevens.
Very good job.
We look at this one more time.
So it's one of the only main deductions in the in this routine was the step on the landing. Took a little long before she went into the dismount, but I don't think they'll get her for it. And at one step right there, be at least a tenth of a point.
This is Sierra Sapinar from Georgia, another freshman. But I tell you, there's no transition time for these gymnasts. They get thrown right into it. Knowing what's on the line here, I'm sure her coach said, don't worry, we'll be happy with anything higher than a 9.78.
Sierra's a beautiful gymnast, former elite. Competed at the Goodwill Games for the United States, where she finished an amazing 5th all around, had a great competition there. So she has a lot of experience. Very technically sound, well-trained. Had to give up her bid to make an Olympic team, just plagued with injuries. It's especially nice to see these athletes go on to collegiate careers and receive the attention, the accolades, and the success, ongoing success in gymnastics as they get their education and really make the transition in life.
And right now she was looking into the team of Alabama. They have finished their competition. Nice dismount with all the pressure.
Whoa, and a great smile.
Sierra Sapinar doing quite well for the University of Georgia, with the Crimson Tide looking on.
Such clean work here on the balance beam, and really knows how, when it's slightly off, she corrects it immediately and doesn't overcorrect, which is a temptation on this event, to kind of panic, and she doesn't. She stays very cool.
More of the 6th and final rotation from the Super 6 Challenge in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Right after this, you won't want to miss the finish. Welcome back to Coleman Coliseum, Tuscaloosa, Alabama. We are in the 6th and final rotation. The University of Georgia is on the beam right now. Kathleen Shreves, the senior. And I know deep down in her heart, Kathy, she's probably hoping to redeem herself. She had a fall on the uneven bars. Right behind her, just out of your shot, you can see the entire University of Alabama team. Now, they have completed their competition. They have a bye in this final round, and all eyes are on the University of Georgia.
Todd, it's what team gymnastics is all about, and it's what they really strive for. If someone makes a mistake, they pick it up for the next person. It's just a constant effort toward that one common goal.
And as you pointed out, and I mentioned earlier, it is a team competition, but unfortunately, when she gets on that beam, it's just her and the beam. As we recap some of the scores already, Vexler and Stevens 9.8, 9.75 respectively. Sierra Sapinar 9.775. They need a 9.78 average, 48.910 to win this competition.
So we got to see some 9.8 pluses here.
And you know the folks at Alabama right now are crunching the abacus.
Oh, there it goes. Oh, she's having a tough competition.
Very uncharacteristic. 2 falls, 2 apparatuses for her, and she's a senior. I know the coach is expecting more from her, but what do you chalk it up to? Early season jitters? I mean, this is the first meet.
Probably not jitters, just not quite prepared to hit under pressure. You got to get numbers in, especially on this event. Gymnasts do so many repetitions on this event in particular, so they can handle their nerves, but not just that. The difference of the equipment, the slight difference of equipment when you get into competition, difference of the arena. One thing I've heard from a lot of the coaches, because of the incoming freshmen being so good, that's put a lot of pressure, but the good kind of pressure, on the seniors and upperclassmen. They're trying to push themselves so they stay in the lineup, increase their difficulty to hang with the youngsters.
Well, she certainly is capable of big things. She has scored a 9.90 in the past and a 9.975. But I do not think she will receive that kind of score.
She will do it again, but on another day.
Exactly. Kathleen Shreves, a senior from Dayton, Maryland, wraps up her beam. And we shift gears over to the uneven bars. A young lady who I'm sure we'll be hearing more about from Stanford University. This is Lindsay Wing, 5'3" freshman from Houston, Texas.
And I've seen a lot of excitement in the huddled group over at the Stanford area. I think they're quite pleased with the way they're competing thus far. A 9.825 just flashed for the previous gymnast.
Everyone's high on Lindsay Wing. They traveled with 6 freshmen on this team, so you know she's got to be good.
Yeah, they're not just high on her gymnastics. They are happy for this gymnast. Oh, pull it out. Come on. Darn it. That's too bad. Lost her swing and her momentum. A little bit off on that giant full as well.
Step forward.
Oh. Too bad. She'll get the break. She had to stop on the low bar.
Remember, she's a freshman.
And look at those huge scores up to them. She's had some great scores over at Stanford.
Back to the beam, the University of Georgia Gym Dogs. This is another freshman, Corey Fritzinger from Virginia Beach, Virginia, a former U.S. national team member. And I'm sure the young ladies at Georgia are hoping she can pull off something spectacular right now.
This is a must-hit situation, and not just must-hit big.
Well, the score for Shreves came down just moments ago. 9.225. So they are off the pace. Remember, they need a 9.78 average.
Nope.
48.910 is what Georgia needs to win this competition.
They've had too many breaks on beam to do it.
And we certainly don't want to discount the Gym Dogs. They will probably be there in April at Nationals.
Absolutely. All of these errors that they've made are things that are correctable in time, training. And the only way to get competitive experience is competing, and they'll just need more meets under their belt. Well, this certainly bodes well for collegiate gymnastics, the future of collegiate gymnastics, to see such strong freshmen coming in and doing rather well under pressure. They can clean up. They can definitely get rid of kind of the early jitters that we're seeing. And by April, we'll see better teams.
Well, through 4 rotations, the University of Georgia looked awfully good. It almost looked like they were going to run away with this, but as you pointed out, a lot of breaks in form. This is Corey's dismount. We'll be back with her score and find out who needs what to wrap up the title when we return to Coleman Coliseum and more of the Super 6 Challenge right here on ESPN. Coleman Coliseum. This is the final event for Christy Litchie and the University of Georgia. She is on the beam. She needs a 9.85 to tie for first place. And the way things have gone for Georgia, Kathy, this is going to be a tough score, but if you got to have someone batting cleanup, she certainly is the person you want on there.
Great gymnast to be in this position. It's amazing that they're even here, though. They go into the final 2 events with a 0.6 of a point lead. You're in the driver's seat, and it's kind of whittled down now to where they're in this position. It's possible, but very difficult. She has to be near perfect.
Well, she is a senior from Cincinnati, Ohio. And she earned All-American honors last season in this event, so certainly someone capable of it. 9.85 will get a tie with Alabama.
She was 5th on beam at Nationals last year.
What do you think? So far, so good?
So far, keeping in mind where they're scoring, the level of scoring here at this competition.
She is the final competitor. All the rest of the athletes have concluded their rotation, so basically everyone in Coleman Coliseum is watching Christy Litchie.
One thing I can tell you she needs is an absolutely stuck dismount.
Well, here it is.
Front with a full twist. Whoa, that is it.
Well, the Georgia Gym Dogs seem to like it. 9.85 gets a tie. Better, they get the win outright, and I think the folks at Alabama are a little bit more nervous than they were previously. Oh, and she does it.
Oh, my gosh.
We have a tie at the Super 6 between Georgia and Alabama. Christy Litchie, the senior, comes through with exactly what she needed to get the tie, a 9.85. So there are the final results. Alabama, Georgia tie for first. They are followed by Stanford, Michigan, Florida, and Penn State in the Super 6 Challenge from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. As we look down the apparatus final results, it looks like this. Christy Litchie wins the vault. Andrea Pickens the bars. A 4-way tie in the beam between Litchie, senior, Wing, and LaValle. And on the floor, it was Alabama's Andrea Pickens. In the all-around, Alabama's Andrea Pickens wins, followed by Georgia's Corey Fritzinger, Bama's Jenna Rice, and Stanford's Jen Exaltacion and Lindsay Wing. Kathy, your thoughts on what we saw tonight?
I thought we saw a very good level of gymnastics, especially for a season opener for all these gymnasts. I didn't predict the tie, though. I didn't predict that.
I don't know if anyone would have predicted that. Very impressive. So we say good night from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. On behalf of Kathy Johnson-Clark, I'm Todd Harris saying so long from the 2001 Super 6 Challenge. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Good night, everybody.